Hello, my name's Allie, and today I'm going to be doing some walkthroughs and some tutorials on how to use the 2024 reading spreadsheets that I have posted. This is going to be a long video, I already know, and there will be timestamps listed down below so that you can go wherever you need to go in this video because it's going to be a lot. You might not need it all. The first thing I'm going to do is do kind of a quick walkthrough of the 3 different reading spreadsheets that I'm putting out for the year. There is a simple one that is the basic version. There is also a just yearly one that is a little more complex, ultimate version, whatever. And then there's also one that is a 5-year tracker, which you could use on its own, or you could use it to transfer data over time, however you want to use it. But I am going to do a walkthrough of each of those, starting with the basic one and then getting into more of tutorial things after doing the walkthrough so that you can see which version might be best for you before you buy it. The link to purchase these spreadsheets will be listed down below as well, so let's get into this, I guess. Nothing like posting these like just under the wire of a new year, you know? Every year I post it on like the very last day of the year. Starting with the basic one, all of them have instructions on them. All of them have the book spread. This is all the things that you can track. There's a lot of things. You do not have to use all these things, which we will get into. There's the yearly dashboard for the simple one. There's a monthly dashboard. There's also a transactions. There's a new release tracker, library books, an ARC tracker, readathons, and then selections that you can change or use as is. Then getting into the 2024 just yearly tracker. It's a little bit different than last year. Again, some instructions. There is a goals page, and the goals page has some things up here. This one automatically fills out on its own based on your actual reading. This is where you would insert your goal, and then you can put things here, whatever you want to do, and it will cross them off for you. There's also reading challenges, so if you're doing a very specific type of reading challenge for the year, you can put those there. There's also monthly challenges. Again, you can put however many books you're aiming to reach each month, and then it will tell you your actual. And then there's a little graph to show you actual versus goal. And then I did include the 24 and 24 again. It's not, I feel like, as aesthetically pleasing as last year, but I felt like it really fit with the reading goals page. So there it be. You can insert covers here if you like. You can write the title, however you want to do it. Then we have your book spread database. I've just thrown some things in here so that we can see what the graphs look like. Again, tracking a ton of things that you can choose to use or not use. We have the yearly stats overall, so this is all the good stuff that gets tracked. One of the new things I added is that it will actually tell you your shortest books and your longest books for the year, given that the title doesn't show up twice and then you might get an error message, but that's fixable. Then we have this bookshelf page, which every book that you read, it will actually show up here, basically as a book on a bookshelf, and it will color code as well to however you read it, which is how I like to track my books in my Bujo tracker, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do in a spreadsheet. Then you have monthly stats, and this is much more in-depth than the monthly side-by-side. So here you can actually choose the month that you want to see the stats for, and the graphs will change based on the month. I don't have any February data apparently inserted here, but yeah. So that will just change based on the month that you choose. Then we have a monthly side-by-side. I know sometimes it's just useful to see how you're doing between each month. So this has always been a very popular page. Then we have options. So with options, you can choose either or you can choose to make it into something else. So we have one TBR option, a monthly TBR option set up like this, where you write the title and maybe the reason why you're reading it. And I mean, you don't have to use it for this. You could repurpose this page if you wanted. But there's one option, and then option 2 is more lengthwise, and this one has the title, the reason, but also the status of that item on your TBR. Then we get into the habit tracker options. We have one that's a little more complex that I would say absolutely do not try to move or touch anything on this page. It is a overly complicated page. The one good thing I like to do with this particular habit tracker is that the calendar days actually change based on your habits. So if you read both audiobook and physical for one day, it will change a certain color. If you read physical one day, it changes a certain color. If you read just audiobook, it changes a certain color. So that is one that I always like to do. I also added, like, you can put in your year goals here. Like, I want to spend 200 days out of the year reading audiobooks. And so you can kind of put a goal there. Big goals this year. Lots of goals that I felt the need to track. And then the days read, the days listened, and all these things would also fill it out. There's a progress bar that goes towards your goal and whatnot. So there's that one. And then the second one is much more simple in that it is just check the days as you get to them. So if you read on these certain days, you can check physical or audio, and there is also a progress bar. Also progress bars, and again, you can set your goals up here as well. Then we have transactions, tracking what is coming in and out of your owned library. We have releases, anticipated releases. We have library checkouts. These bars up here are movable. Just move them around. They don't like to stack on top of each other, but I wanted to give the option to sort the data if you really wanted to. An ARC tracker, which was requested, especially for any reviewers out there. And I did add where you would post these things to, and again, you can just change these. This isn't necessarily being tracked anywhere. It's just more for your convenience. Then we have the series tracker. This is the more complicated series tracker of them. You really kind of have to know what you're doing in order to work this one. Then we have a more simple series tracker that's just like, what is the title, the author, the series, and whatnot, and then you can like sort by the series or if you've read it or not. And then the last one is probably the most simple, in which you are just tracking the series title, and that's really it. And then like how many books you would put the total books in a series, then you would put how many books you've read out of that. And then this will automatically count how many books that you've read and give you a little progress bar. You can also put the status of the series, like, are you caught up? Or is it in progress? Is it not started? Is it unfinished? You know, you can put whatever you want there. Then we have star reads. This will rate all of your star reads. It will put a list for them, easy peasy for you, so you can find out what books you really loved just at a glance. This does only work currently with the 1 to 5 star rating, but it's a pretty easy fix, and we can get into that later. Also, the readathons page, and then your selections. So then we get to the multi-year. I'm calling this a 5-year. I've only really set it up for 5 years for this moment in time, just because I feel like that's a lot of data. That is a lot of data to have to look at unless you really don't read that much. But if you are a big time reader, that's a lot of data to try to load all the time. So the 5-year one, this is the goals sheet because I wanted to provide all the years on the goals sheet. You have your top reading goals, again, your yearly goal, and then what your actual goal is, your monthly reading target versus your actual reading target, your reading challenges, and then down here I've just put titles instead of putting like 24 and 24 and 25 and 25, because then you'd have to make a separate page for all of those basically. There's just titles down here that you can get to, and again, you can add a cover if you would like, or just write in the title, and that goes to 2028. And then we have your books read, and again, this is all very similar to the other ones. Then we have the yearly stats page, and this yearly stats is based on the year that you select. So it will change the graphs based on the year that you end up selecting. And it has a lot of stuff. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. Okay, we'll get to that. Also, you have your bookshelf. Again, this will automatically fill out with the books, and you can select the year of the books that you want to see, and it will change the color of them based on how you read it. Monthly, you can choose the month and the year here. The only thing you will have to be careful of is if you want to compare it to the whole year, your yearly you need to make sure that the yearly stats page is set to the year that you want to compare it to. So that is one thing to note, but you can select, you know, whatever year and month that you want to look at. Then we have the years side by side, so you can see all of the things that you were tracking side by side for the year. And then there's also a monthly one, and again, you can choose the year here to see your monthly statistics for that year. Here we have the monthly TBR option. These are much more simple. They don't have a reason. You could easily incorporate that if you wanted to. Since there's already so many things being loaded on this tracker, I went with a little more simple style here. And then again, with the monthly TBR, this is the longer version. And this one is different. There's habit tracker options, but they are templates in that you need to copy these before you use them. So the first one is this calendar tracker. What you enter here changes the calendars throughout. Because of that, I could not make it so that the colors on the calendar automatically change colors. So you can set a key and then you can go in and just manually do it if that's something that you really want to do, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to do that. The other template is just that simple style again, and you would just put the year here. Nothing really needs to change here with the years. So there is that. But in order to use these, you would just keep the template and you would just go to duplicate, and then you would have a new tab with that, and you can start entering your information on it. Again, we have transactions, and you can sort the stats. These stats that show up here, these can be sorted by year. We have releases. Again, these can be sorted by year. These are movable. They just like to move around. It's you can move them off to the side if you really want. They just kind of get in the way, but it's an easy way to sort them. You can do your library books. Again, stats can be switched out by year. Your ARC tracker, again, can be sorted by year. This is the more complex series tracker that does take a little bit more knowledge of how to use it. There is the more simple series tracker where you can do multiple titles, and then the very simple series tracker where you just track it by the series title. You would put the number in the series, and then you would, you know, fill this out, and then you would also put your series status here, kind of deal. There are the all-time stats, and this will look at everything that you have entered over the years, over the 5 years, and it will fill out all of the information here. So you can just see all of your reading stats in one go. And then there is a 5-star. This will list all of your 5 stars for each year. So you can see the best books from each year. And then again, we have the readathons. This one is a very simple one. You could use this as a template if you want, because it really only has the month and the days and whatnot. And then your selections page. So there is that. Those are quick overviews of them. Now I'm going to get into customizing your spreadsheet. I have notes here because there's so much to go over. After you purchase your spreadsheet, you are going to get a PDF, and the PDF is going to have a link, and it's going to bring you to the file of the color of which you have purchased. So let's say I bought the minty one, since that's the one that we're looking at today. The first thing you're going to see is a reading updates, or whatever one that you purchase. You're going to have an updates page. This is where I will post any changes that have been made. You have access to this at any time as long as you just follow that link from the PDF. You can also bookmark it if you want. You can also star this. There's a star right here. Makes it very easy when you're in your Google Drive. You can just, there's a section on the navigation that says starred items, and you can find it that way. I did also, this year, you will find a link to a form where you can get updates emailed to you. So, first, Etsy does not have a good way to mass message people, unfortunately. So this was the only way I could really figure it out. You provide your name in an email so I can email you, and then you just tell me what updates you're interested in, and that's pretty much it. If for some reason I might need to follow up and look at an issue. So I did do that this year to try to keep everyone updated and make sure everyone's spreadsheets are working as smoothly as possible. So then you're going to see the spreadsheet. You are not going to be able to edit this directly from here because this is my copy. So you can either open it and do this, or you can hit these 3 little buttons and go to make a copy. And then it will make a copy within your Google Drive. Because I'm already in my Google Drive, it hasn't asked me where to save it. It's just doing it here. But you can do that. Also, when you open it, you can go to File, make a copy, and do it that way, and it will ask you where you would like to save it. So there's 2 different ways you can do it. Once you are in your spreadsheet, you can look at the instructions and all that kind of deal. But the first thing I would highly recommend doing is going all the way to the end and going to the Selections tab. This is what information you will be tracking. I've put in what I think the mass majority of people might be interested in. However, this is very personal to you. So you can change it to be whatever you want. Maybe you only read novels, and you can just put novel there. Maybe you only read novels and manga, and you can just do that. You can just add whatever selections you want. I've added the most basic of publishers. I know there's a million other publishers out there, but these are just like the most basic ones. Where you acquired it might be personal to you. You might not use Libro FM. You might not use Everand, so therefore you're probably not really going to have a need for that. Again, book subscriptions, this is just if you subscribe to a book subscription. I probably should have put book of the month in there. I didn't even think, oh my god, I'm such a... They literally used my face in an ad and I forgot about book of the month. I put it here though, but I forgot to put it... There are 2 in the very back. This one back here, it does have a note on it. It's used in the series tracker option 2, so if you're not going to use that, you can just get rid of that. And also, received from is used on the ARC tracker, so if you're not using that, again, you don't really need those. You don't really have to worry about getting rid of them if you don't want to. It's not really going to affect anything. I want it in alphabetical order. So what you can do is highlight just the items that you want in alphabetical order. You could then go to Data, Sort Range, and then sort the range by A to Z or Z to A, whatever you want to do it, and then it will put them in alphabetical order. I prefer mine by age group here, so whatever is easiest to you, but I know alphabetical order is typically the easiest when it comes, especially subgenres and genres, just having the longest list. That is the big thing. I will say I have a feeling some people will be adding things to this. And there is, if you do add more, there will be extra steps you have to take, and we will get to that when we get to the graphs page. Now let's look at hiding tabs. You can go to the tab and you can either delete or you can hide the sheet. There are hidden sheets on these spreadsheets that are in use. So I would say don't really mess with them. But you can just hide this if you would ever need it. You can always go to View, Hidden Sheets, and it will tell you right there what you need. And then you can just go, okay, I want to view the instructions again. You can also do this with your selections because most chances are you're going to go into your selections, you're going to edit them, and then you're going to be done with them. Looking at books read, again, this isn't necessarily all information that you might want to track. There's a lot here. I don't track all this. I make this whole big spreadsheet and then I chop it in half for myself. So let's say I don't want to track the country and I added the country. This was a big request. This is totally up to you, by the way, how you want to track a country, whether it's where it was published or where it takes place. It does have a world chart on the graphs page. So, but let's say I don't really want to track this. You can take this whole column, you can right click, and you can choose to either delete the column or you can choose to hide the column. If you are nervous about messing up the spreadsheet, you can just hide a column. You should be able to delete columns and be fine. But if you're nervous, you can just hide a column. And then you can always view it again if you feel like it. Let's say that you don't really need to know the status. Like you don't want to track currently reading, finished, DNF, or to read. You just if it's on here, you've already read it. Again, you can just get rid of this or hide it. You don't need that there if you really don't want. Now, let's say that to you, the month read is more important to have closer up than the books read. And you can just hold the letter and move it. This will not mess with any graphs. You can move these wherever you want, wherever makes sense to you. That's great. If you come across like a row, you would select that whole year of data and just go to hide, so that you are only looking at the year that you are inserting things in. I think that is mostly it for kind of editing this. We have the title, the author, the status if that's something, because some people really like to know how many books they are currently reading. You have your pages read, your hours listened, the month read. You can change the colors on these drop down menus. If you don't want color, or if you want to change the color, you can go to edit. It will bring up a menu off to the side and you can change the colors to whatever you want. I just set in some basic ones just to make them stand out. You can choose whether or not it's owned. You may notice that there is not an owned spreadsheet this year, an owned tab. I honestly just feel like that is something that could be completely separate at this point. The rating, if you DNF'd it or not, the main genre, the subgenre, whether or not it is nonfiction, if that's something you want to track completely separate, the intended audience, the format, the source material. Is it part of a series? What is the series called? What number in the series is it? Did this book complete the series? We have the country, however you want to track that, the year published, the type of publication, the publisher, the author status. Have you read from them before? Is it a debut? Was the book diverse? Does it have LGBTQ rep? Is it own voices? And what was the diversity rep? Because diversity is different to everyone. Where did you acquire it from? What is the cover color? There's this quarter mood tracker. This doesn't get tracked. This is just for funsies. You can put an emote. You can do colors for what you think, the mood is for that. Totally up to you how you want to do that. We have the date started, the date finished, and then this column should automatically fill out how many days it took you to complete it, whether or not you updated Goodreads, was this a reread, the trigger warnings, where you heard about it from, was it for a readathon, if it was, what readathon, what prompt, notes, and then if you want to add a link to the book, this could be good if you are a reviewer and you don't want to have to go searching for it all the time. You can just pull this up, pull all your information, bada bing, bada boom. Of course, it's a little different on the multi-year because you will have to insert on the books read the year that you read as well. So that is the only real difference between those pages there. Then we get to the yearly stats page, and this is the one thing that it will be a little harder to move around, especially if you're going to be adding things. But you can just copy and paste these where you need, and they should be fine within the formulas. You just might have to update the graphs. The graphs are also, you can change the colors of these. So quickly, I'm going to show you, let's say you add an extra genre. I'm going to go back here. I've tried to leave a little bit of room in some places, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Let's say I decide to add the genre that is romantasy as its own thing now. And then I go to my stats page and I look and I see, oh my, wait, this isn't part of this. What's going on? All you really have to do is go up, like basically go just one above where the border is of wherever it is that you're trying to track, and you're going to go insert row below. And then it will automatically put that in. You might have to go in and update the borders, which are up here, or the colors or something. Down here, you just might have to move this down. But that will automatically just go ahead and fill it in. I've made it super easy. These ones you just might have to move up. There's just some that might need a little moving around, but for the most part, it should track it. Now you might want to double check your graphs. And here you can see the range. You can go over this and just make sure that it's going all the way to that bottom one, which here it is F41. And I see F41 is there, so it should be tracking it. You should be good. The only other thing that you will have to do with this is take the number above it and just drag it down. Wherever that empty spot is showing up, just drag the formula down one. That's it. If you don't know how to drag, you'll click it, you'll get this little dot in the corner, and you just hit drag, and that will take the formula down, and it will start working the way that it needs to. I know that I try to provide a little bit of room for growth under certain things. Hopefully that is fine. If you find there's something that you're not tracking, you don't really want to track anymore, you can just delete those areas and move things. So let's say I don't really care about the publisher. I don't really care about this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to delete this data. I'm going to go to format, clear formatting. I'm going to move this graph up. I'm going to take this whole section. I'm going to right click. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to right click here and I'm going to go paste. And there you go. Everything should work as it needs to work. Same thing with the monthly stats. This will be very similar. Also, the monthly side by side, again, very similar. If you see how this, we're going to get an error here because there's now too many things to put in this box. I'm just going to click right in the middle, insert row above, and now they all fit. You can just do that until they all fit in that section. And then again, just drag down that formula to make sure that it is showing you the numbers. Again, if there's something that you don't really want, especially like on this page, if there's a whole section that you don't want, I don't care about audience, just select all of these with the number rows, right click, hide or delete. There you go, easy peasy. The bookshelf titles, if for some reason you want to change these colors, select this whole section here, format, conditional formatting, and you will see the colors here. So I tend to do light to dark so that you'll be able to see. So this audiobook is this light color, and you can just go here, change the color of this, and it will change all of those. Just if for some reason you would want to change the color of those. Go up here to fill the paint bucket, and you see custom. You can hit this little pencil, and the whole theme will pop up over here. And you'll have some color options that you can change. I would say if you're going to customize any of them, I would buy the black template. That is the easiest one to customize because it doesn't have colorful borders randomly. There are a few drop-down menus that you hit this pencil and you'll get the items. So there are a few drop-down menus. If you don't see them in the selections, you might just be able to edit them right where they're at. For these trackers back here, again, you can just move. These are filters, and you can just move these out of the way if you want. They don't have to necessarily be here. You can delete them if you want, if you don't really want to filter. You can also edit the filter. You can edit slicer is what they're called, and you can, the range should be already chosen, but then you can choose what it is that you would maybe want to filter it by. I've tried to include these on pretty much all of these. There are going to be some areas where maybe you find, I don't really care about this ordered from, but there's information above it, which is kind of a problem. If you need an empty cell, just right click, insert one. We're going to take one of these empty rows. I'm going to drag it over here. I got an error because this is merged. We're going to unmerge this. Then we're going to drag this over. I'm going to drag these here, and then I'm going to delete this whole column. Then I am going to remerge this to make it just pretty, and there you go. You are going to have this random empty spot, which is fine. You can just make it tiny. It might be a little awkward looking, but at least you'll still have your data up here. For the most part, you can always just ignore the things too. let's say you want to edit these star ratings in the back. I know some people like to track way more than 1 to 5 stars. If you want to copy this, go select A and C. You can do this by holding Shift, right click, insert 2 columns wherever, doesn't matter. Now, why did I do that? Then you're going to select those again. You're going to select those columns that you just made, and you're going to paste, and it's going to format those. You're going to change this to whatever it is you're trying to track. Here, where it says rating, you're going to, the very first one, it's only in this very first line. You're going to see the rating. Let's say you track up to 10 stars. You would just insert 10 here. And then it would automatically fill out. Because I don't have 10 stars on here, there's nothing to fill out. But if you would want, that's how you can change. Let's talk quickly. If you do get the multi-year and you get a TBR page that you do want to add reasons to, you can just right-click, insert column to the left or right, and then make this section your reasons column. You can always, I've left these blank areas up here, and you could put title and reasons here. If that's something, you could also put the status of it here if that is something that you would want to do. So let's say you do want to add the status. So you would do this all the way across. So let's say I do this again, insert 1 column to the left. When you have them all done, you're going to select just those areas. And again, you can do this by holding Control to select multiple areas. Once you have them all selected, you're going to go to Data, Data Validation, Add Rule, and then you'll be able to put a drop-down menu in there, and you can put your options. You're going to hit Done, and then you're going to have your drop-down menu in there, if that is something that you would want to add. It's not really something I included again, because these are just a lot. For the habit trackers, again, you're going to want to go to Duplicate before you enter any information on these. If you don't want to see them till you need them till the next year, you can just hide these sheets. And then when you need to view them again, you can go to View, Hidden Sheets. Let's look at these series trackers, because this one in particular is a little complicated in that you would type in what it is that you want. You know, these are what we got, and then you would also do this, and then like some of them I have formatted because this is like a book I was anticipating or something. And these are, I've owned them and read them. Okay, but now I need to enter another series. You could leave room if you think a series is going to grow. Sometimes that's good, because what is going to happen is you're going to take this, you're going to copy this, and you're going to paste this down here. You have to have this whole thing, because there is something here that is being tracked, and there is something here that is being tracked. Insert the numbers again. You can put the full series title here, kind of deal. This is more for the people, I feel like, who are a little more skilled in spreadsheets and are able to troubleshoot a little bit. This one is nice, probably the nicest one to look at, but it is the most complicated to work. If that's not something you feel confident with, I would just use one of these. And again, there are ways to filter these ones. You used the spreadsheet last year, and you want to transfer data. There are 2 ways to do this. If you have a series tracker from last year, you can actually go to that on your old spreadsheet and go to that tab, copy to, and then existing spreadsheet, and then you can copy it to your new one. That's why you do not have to re-enter any information. You want to paste all of your stuff over, whether that is in the reading goals area, the books read area, or whether that is in any other area. What you have to make sure is that the information is in the same order that you are pasting it in. You might have to delete some things or move things all the way to the end before you would move them back, because if you try to paste it, it will paste in the columns of which you're putting it. So let's say on your original one, you had the month read here. but then you're trying to paste the information over top of this, what it will end up doing is just pasting basically where month red is. It's going to go in the pages red when you paste it over. And it's going to be all messed up. So if you are pasting information over, you do have to make sure that all of the named areas are in the same location. I think that's mostly it. I'm trying to think of anything else that I feel might be helpful, but I really don't think there's anything else at this time. If you are having an issue, the best place is to just Google or YouTube your problems that you might be having. The Google Forms are amazing. Everything that I've done has been self-taught through YouTube videos in the Google Forums. They're very helpful, and it's so rewarding to know what you're doing as well in spreadsheets. So if not, you can always just use it as is as well. There are normally bugs that happen along the way and some issues. Unfortunately, these spreadsheets are massive, and I can't catch everything the first go around, or even the third go around, or even the 10th go around sometimes. So there is an email listed on the instructions page that you could email me at. It is allywiththespreadsheets@gmail.com. You could also comment on a video or message me on Etsy as well if there is something that is broken or an issue, and I will try to fix it as soon as possible. I'm working on other spreadsheets for the new year, so there will be more coming. They're just not quite done yet because I've been trying to make sure that the reading ones are done, since those are the main things that you all love. So yeah, thank you so much. Again, the links are down below if you are interested in purchasing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!